Welcome back to the Lines College Football Podcast. I'm Brett Gibbons with TheLines.com, breaking down some more Tuesday night college football maction. Before we get into it, don't forget to follow The Lines on Twitter at TheLinesUS, and I am at Road to CFB. I'll be here breaking down the Tuesday slate every single week for the remainder of the season, and be sure to tune into the other college football shows that I have with Kelly Ford for full weeknight and Saturday slate breakdowns. Also, check out our other full lineup of shows, including Beat the Closing Number with Eli Hershkovich and Mo Nuara, and the Lines Megapod featuring Steven Andrus and Matt Brown. Action is in full swing, and there's some matchups that have some really heavy conference championship and bowl implications coming up on this Tuesday. Starting off with, well, maybe one with a little bit less conference championship implications. We have Ball State on the road at Northern Illinois. The Huskies are 10-point home favorites, and this game carries an over-under of 43 points. It kicks off Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. This game is played for the Bronze Stalk Trophy. Maybe not one that we're all super aware of, but hey, having been to both these schools, I 100% understand why this is the trophy. And it's also one of the coolest looking in the MAC. It's one of the more intricate in the country. If you could look up a picture of that, it's really neat. Ball State has taken this trophy home 3 of the last 4 years after a stretch of dominance by Northern Illinois. This line did open NIU minus 8.5 late last week, and it's been all in favor of the Huskies since then. After losing most of their talent in the portal this offseason, Ball State just hasn't been able to get it going. They're already eliminated from bowl contention. At this point, they're playing for pride. I don't think their APR score is going to be high enough to get them consideration should they go 5-7 and in the bowl season need a couple extra participants. I don't think Ball State's going to be one of those. However, a bright spot on their offense has been Marquez Cooper. He was supposed to be a really nice injection to the offense, especially when Carson Steele left, but he's been pretty inefficient. We're talking 4.6 yards per attempt. 3.5 of those have come after contact, so his offensive line is not getting much of a push whatsoever, and he's only found the end zone 3 times this year. But he does go against an NIU defense that's 112th in rushing success rate. So if there's a week where Marquez Cooper is going to be able to get it going and boost that yards per attempt number, this week could definitely be one of those options. Aside from the offensive line just not getting it done, Ball State also doesn't have a threat of a passing game, so teams are able to stack the box, sell out, stop the run. Not having star tight end Brady Hunt this year has also really helped them. He has not been in the lineup. It was a will he, won't he, and then eventually they shut him down at the beginning of last month. Bowling Green, just last week, held Marquez Cooper to 0.9 yards before contact on his rushes there. Not a great look. He was kind of doing it all himself, failed to get to 100 yards against the Falcons. There is a big difference in the turnover battle as well. Ball State is 95th in giveaways, whereas Northern Illinois is just 35th. They've been taking care of the football pretty nicely this year. Ball State's also tied for the fewest takeaways in the entire FBS with Temple. So we're not talking about a consistent team that's winning the turnover battle, and you do see that in their win-loss column, especially in one-score games. They just lost a one-score game last week with the missed field goal. Northern Illinois, 6th-year quarterback Rocky Lombardi. Those of you that have been paying attention to the game for a while, he is a mainstay here. He threw 3 picks in one game against Southern Illinois, but since then, he's only thrown 2 on the entire season outside of that game. Receiver Taven Rudolph has been a huge addition for them after missing all of last year with injury. He's electric in the offense. He's very multiple, big yak guy, and also really, really nice in the return game. One of the better returners in the entire country. So getting him back has been a nice injection into that offense. However, they're still running that offense through Antario Brown, who's the second leading rusher in the MAC. Ball State is outside the top 100 in both rush and pass EPA on defense. However, I lean Ball State with the points if you can get north of 10, even on 10 or better, I should say. NIU has been a perpetual play up and play down to their competition. They step up big. They had a nice win over Ohio, and then they drop a disgusting shootout to Central Michigan. So they're very dependent on who they're playing. They've only beat one team this season by more than 10 points, that being Akron. It's a projected low-scoring game, so the play's on the underdog for me. It's Ball State at 10.5 or better. Moving forward, we have Central Michigan on the road at Western Michigan. The Broncos are 3-point home favorites, and this game carries an over-under 56.5 points. Kicks off Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. This is another rivalry game that we have here, perhaps a more notable one, or more well-known one, I should say. These two teams play for the victory cannon. This rivalry began back in 1906, but regular meetings began in 1925, so it is one of the older ones in the Mid-American Conference. Western, dominance as of recently. They've won 9 of the last 12 meetings outright, but interestingly, I don't know how actionable this is, at least by itself. The visitor has covered the last 10 spreads, 10-0 against the spread outright in the last 10 meetings. Central Michigan is 1 win away from bowl eligibility, whereas Western Michigan is 1 loss away from likely ineligibility to make a bowl. There's a surprising amount at stake for this game. We're talking bragging rights in a rivalry, a trophy, bowl eligibility. There's a lot going on here, and I think we're going to see these teams playing up to the occasion because they know what's at stake. The coaching staffs know what's at stake. Western, they do have an additional 3 days of rest, having played last Saturday, which was technically week 9. Central Michigan played week 10 Maction on Tuesday. So it's not a huge rest advantage, but the 3 extra days do make a little bit of a difference. The Broncos have struggled in the red zone this season big time, and it results in them being 106 nationally in net points per drive. But Central Michigan has so far been the cure for the common offense, as we say with USC. Central Michigan also in that category there. They're 131st in the country in EPA per play and 116th in success rate allowed. They're also 112th in passes of 10 or more yards nationally. So you can throw on these guys. You can get some pretty good chunk yardage. This is an opportunity for a Western Michigan passing offense that's just been really lethargic. Because it's not really what they want to do. They're not out there to gun the ball all over the yard. Instead, they like to run the football with Jalen Buckley. He's 3rd in the MAC in rushing this season. Across the way, they're facing a 3-headed rushing attack from Central Michigan between Marion Lukes, Miles Bailey, and Jace Bauer at quarterback. Bauer's 9 rushing touchdowns are 3rd most nationally among quarterbacks, and both teams give up a lot of ground game. So it's going to be a high efficiency rushing attack. Expectedly at least. That's how I expect it. For me, it's Central Michigan with the points. +3 or better. There was +3.5 earlier in the day here on Monday, a little peek behind the curtain. But honestly, I'd still take it at 3. I think the Chips win this game outright. I think they're the better football team. My power ratings make this a pick 'em. I don't think Western playing at home really swings the pendulum enough for me. There's only 2 hours between the schools. They're very familiar with each other. And Jim McElwain, excellent coach against the spread. He's 9-4 against the spread as a road dog at Central Michigan. So I'm taking the Chips with the points, and I would be looking to them on the money line as well if you want to throw a little bit extra on there. I think Central's a better football team here. Final game on Tuesday night, we have a big one in the MAC East. This one carries a lot of conference championship implications. We have Ohio, a 7-point road favorite at Buffalo. This game carries an over-under of 44 points, and it kicks off Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. As usual, between these teams, we're always looking at a MAC East supremacy battle, and there's really not much of a difference this year, although they are kind of fighting for second place, as Miami of Ohio does hold the MAC East as we speak. A loss by either team probably ends their run at Detroit. It's already kind of contrived for Buffalo to make it there because they don't have a lot of tiebreakers. Ohio needs Miami to lose a couple of times because they lost the game outright to the Redhawks. But Buffalo does have this game and a future matchup with Miami of Ohio next week, so they do have a decent inside track at winning those games. But again, they're such heavy underdogs, even a 7-point dog at home here, that I think it's a lot tougher for them to make a run at Detroit. Right now, it's Miami of Ohio's to lose. You take care of business, and it's their division. I mentioned that Ohio needs Miami to lose twice, just to kind of wrap that up. This number did open at Ohio -6.5. It took immediate money to get down to -5.5. I don't know if that was a head fake or what's going on here, but then Bobcat backers came flooding in strong and pushed us up to -7. Don't know if we're going to get a 7.5. There's not really any trend that way so far on Monday. It looks like 7 might be our cap there. The over was also bumped up to 45.5 before also being bet back down. There's no weather issues here in this game, so that even in Buffalo, so that's not really something we need to look for there. Ohio does have a 3-day rest advantage on Buffalo, who lost at Toledo last week in that Tuesday action. Big snow globe game. I was at it. It was incredible. Came away with a sickness from it, but hey, whatever. That's action, baby. The Bulls were pretty beat up in that game by the Rockets, too. Maybe not injured physically, but Toledo just manhandled them all game long. There was really not much of a competition there. Now they have to come back and play another very tough defense in Ohio. Coming into the season, we expected Ohio to be a very relevant offense, be able to score a lot, but that hasn't really been the case. And the saving grace for the Bobcats is that their defense has been playing out of their minds. They're 15th nationally in points per drive allowed. On the flip side, Buffalo's 101st in points per drive scored. Big mismatch there. That leads me to take a look at under Buffalo's team total of 17.5. It's a little low, a little worrisome, but Ohio's only allowed teams to score 17 or more points 3 times this year and never in a victory. So if I'm looking at team totals and trying to correlate it with what I expect this game to pan out as, I expect Ohio to win. And in victories this year, they do not allow more than 17 points. So that's why I'm looking at under 17.5 points as a team total for Buffalo. Just to cover the other side, the Bulls are tied for second nationally in takeaways per game. They have 8 of those in their last 3 outings, but they do give up the 7th most rush yards per attempt. You're looking at Cy Bangura, the 7th most rushing attempts in the MAC. So they're going to give up groundwork. That's why I'm not really looking at maybe to take Buffalo to points or lay the points with Ohio, especially while we're at 7. Under 17.5 team total for Buffalo is my lean in this game. Hop on over to our Discord server where you can connect with over 4,000 sports betting fans, get live updates in our college football channel, especially during midweek games. It's a very active chat room, very active community. Love the guys over there. Also very sharp. We have guys sharing their plays all the time. There's a lot of money to be made in our Discord server. Don't forget to subscribe to the Lines YouTube for weekly college football odds and betting videos all season long, just like this one. I'll be here for the next few weeks of midweek action. And subscribe to us on your podcasting app of choice, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you're using. Let me know down in the comments where you are leaning on each of these MAC games. If you like the show, drop us a review on those podcasting apps. That's going to be a really, really awesome way for us to grow and reach more sports betting fans and college football fans. But thank you so much, as always, for watching. I'm Brett Gibbons. We'll see you next time.